You can't imagine. You cannot imagine what this day means to me, to us. Thank you. 2 words, not enough. But I hope you sense how you've touched our hearts today. Thank you. Thank you. You've heard about the 70 years. I'll touch on that at wedding night. 70 years ago tonight, a home wedding in Edmonds. 9 people present. The conclusion, that short man looked at us and said, this question, till death do you part? And we said, of course. Into Seattle, in a Ford, excuse the phrase, in a Ford business coupe, held 3 people. My best man took us to downtown Seattle, 2 blocks away, the Roosevelt Hotel. A one-night honeymoon. The next morning, quick breakfast, and then we walked up the street to 8th and Stewart to the bus depot. We had $5. $5. Back to Edmonds. Sunday night together. Monday morning, day after tomorrow, the 3rd, I raised my hand and joined the Army. 70 cents a day, not per hour, per day. And a war started 37 days later. Well, now fast forward. Fast forward to 1961, and the phone call came. Mr. Smart, I am the chairman of the board at Children's Hospital, and I have a question for you. We understand that you just finished 14 years as a scoutmaster out in Edmonds. You don't do that now. Madam, I don't know who your informer was, but he or she was accurate. We'd like to offer you an opportunity. And what might that be? She said, in 51 years, our hospital has never had a male evening ward volunteer. Really? Did you know that? No, there are a lot of things I don't know, madam, and that's one of them. Well, how much time? Oh, just a little bit of time. 3 hours, 1 night a week at bedside. Will you accept this invitation? Well, excuse me, but I have to check with Precious. Check with Precious. She says, green lights. You were gone all the time with the Boy Scouts. And so it began. The volunteer office. 2 signs. One said, wash your hands before and after you leave the ward. And the second one, never become involved with a patient. Ho, ho, ho. Wednesday night, I went to night school. You've heard. My life began to change. My teachers and those beds, the red suit. Different from Wednesday night because just the terminals and the sickest kids and the toughest questions. Santa, am I going to die? Why me, Santa? Why so much pain, Santa? When can I go home, Santa? What a lesson. A changed person, exchanged for just a little bit of time out of the 38. Well, Kathy with a K, one of the first. Terrible gun accident. A bullet tore through her neck, off this side, and cut her spinal cord in two. C1, C2. Took away everything. Nothing was left but her ability to move her head and her tongue. By the breathing machine. We became fast friends. I was assigned long-term patients, rehab. Long-term. Kathy with a K was there for 10 years. Yes, you heard me correctly. 10 years. Changed my life. Artistically inclined, when she was 16, she painted by mouth Christmas cards for that year. The hospital sold 45,000 of those. The proceeds went to the uncompensated care fund. What's that mean? Well, that hospital, our hospital, now over 100 years in age, has never turned a family away for lack of ability to pay or to pay completely. In this year's budget, over $100 million. The Miracle House. She left when she was 20. I watched her grow up. On her 16th birthday, she hand addressed the invitees, spent it at the top of the Space Needle. She told me one night, "Don't call me disabled. Don't call me disabled. I am differently abled." What a lesson. That's decades ago. I get to tell her story. I'm a voice box. And then I'm watching the time because they have a hook over here for me. His name is Colt. Colt with a T. C-O-L-T. Got it? And to you too. Thanks. Changed my life. I get to tell your story. Thanks for being how you are, what you do, and what lives you continue to change. Thanks. Well, Colt. Met him when he was about 11. Sarcoma, lower right leg, cancer. He and I became friends out at the hospital, close friends. He called me Max. Well, your name is Max. Maxwell Smart. Max, this is Colt. Yes. Another procedure. When? Tomorrow morning. What time? 10 o'clock. Will you be there? Yes, I'll be there. I got to place him on the gurney, kiss him on the forehead, and thank him for being such a teacher, teaching me courage, determination. Oh, yes. His mom, Patty by name, she sits right out there today. I get to tell Colt's story one more time. Told it hundreds of times. He changed my life and others. Cool. Well, I was there the night this doctor came in and said, "Colt, I have news. We have to amputate your leg above the knee." Beg your pardon? He repeated it. What did Colt say? "Let's get on with it." That was Colt. Well, the operation happened. Patty and I were there then the afternoon. They put on this right leg. He took his first step. I said, we were in tears, of course. I said, "Colt, you have to have a name for that thing." He turned around and says, "I'm going to call him Max." So every time he took a step with that dumb leg, I was there. I was there. He grew to dislike the leg. He says, "Mom, if I can't walk like everybody else, I want to fly like an eagle." Beg your pardon? I want to fly like an eagle. Well, time passed. The cancer spread. And just weeks before his graduation from Redmond High School, Patty called, "Colt needs you." Passed to Redmond, held his hand. He was on oxygen, couldn't speak, but he could hear. Held his hand. We talked for an hour and a quarter. I went home. Patty called next morning. Colt passed away at 6:30. A wonderful service, cremated. We found his urn, an eagle with arms outstretched. He lies in the living room of their home now. Patty found another winner, David. He's here today too. Well, then she called again. "Max, something strange is going on." "What do you mean, Patty?" She says, "I'm beginning to find feathers." "Feathers? Where?" "In the yard around the house." "Feathers? What color are the feathers?" "They're black and gray and mottled white." "And what do you think?" I said, "Well, Colt has on his eagle wings and checking up on dear Mom." And then 2 weeks later, I opened the locked front door of the dealership, the locked front door, pushed the door open, and on the carpet was a feather. Colt, checking up on Max, checking up on old Max. Weeks later, Patty called again. "Guess what? Guess what?" I said, "What now?" She says, "I'm beginning to find white feathers." "What do you think?" "He has on his angel wings. Angels among us." I begin to find white feathers. I begin to find white feathers. It's in there. It's in there. It's just hiding. That one. That's a special one. 4 years ago, my dear wife looked out the window of the hospital room where I was, and in the courtyard, 1 floor below, was that white feather. Colt, checking up on Max. Well, Colt left us 10 years ago. And Patty still finds feathers. I don't know how many she has, but I've found them everywhere. I found them on the sidewalk, shopping trip at Vancouver, British Columbia. I found one in a busy intersection 2 years ago in Washington, D.C. I found one in a curb in the front of the dealership. This one. That one. It has a companion. As a companion. I find them everywhere. I find them everywhere. People have said over the years, "How do you handle it?" You said farewell to 27 children. 27 children, and that's right. How do you handle that? Well, go back to Kathy with a K. Very strong. She burnished my own faith. 3 verses. Those who wait upon the will of God shall gain new strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. For now we see through a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part. Then I shall fully understand, even as I have been fully understood. And then in the book of Mark 5:36, only 5 words. Only 5 words. Do not fear, only believe. Do not fear, only believe. Well, that's the story. Those are the stories. thank you for this. We thank you for this. All is well. All is well. All is well.